My mom told my 11-year-old twins, Santa's not real, and even if he was, he'd skip your house because I hadn't bought a luxury car for my favorite brother. Both kids froze. I packed our bags that night. Didn't tell them I'd just accepted a job in Sweden. They found out 6 months later when they Googled my name. I should have known Christmas Eve was going to go bad the second my mom said, "Girls, come here. I want to talk about Santa," and shut the dining room door behind my twins. We were at my parents' house. The same beige two-story where I grew up. The same fake garland taped to the banister. The same cracked ceramic Santa on the mantel. My brother Ryan's kids were in the living room, tearing through presents like it was a timed event. The adults were doing that fake laugh whine thing we always did when my parents hosted. Leah and Noah were still in their socks, 11 years old, cheeks pink from running around with their cousins. They'd written half-serious letters to Santa that year. They knew the truth, but they still liked the ritual. They still wanted to believe that some magic was left in this family, even if it was just pretend. I was in the kitchen refilling the potato dish when I heard my mom's voice carry through the half-closed door. "Look," she said loud enough that I could hear every word. "Santa's not real. And even if he was, he'd skip your house this year." My hand froze on the serving spoon. Leah's voice small. "Why?" "Because your dad," my mom said. And I could hear that sharp smile in her tone. "Doesn't care enough about this family to help when it matters. Your Uncle Ryan needs a real car for his kids. And your dad refused. Santa doesn't visit selfish people." The room went fuzzy around the edges. Someone walked behind me and bumped my shoulder. I didn't move. On the other side of the door, I heard Noah try to be brave. "Dad's not selfish," he said. "He works all the time." My mom snorted at his little computer ad thing. "Please. Your uncle works hard and still struggles. Your dad is doing so well and wouldn't even help buy one car so everyone could ride together. That's not what good sons do. That's not what good fathers do either." There was a pause. I could picture it perfectly. Leah's eyes going glassy. Noah's hands twisting the hem of his sweater. "So no," my mom finished. "There's no Santa. And if there was, he'd be ashamed to land on your roof this year." My hands were shaking so hard I had to put the dish down before I dropped it. My throat felt tight, like I'd swallowed a fist. I stepped toward the dining room, ready to tear that door open, but I stopped just shy of the frame. Leah and Noah walked out first. They weren't crying. That somehow made it worse. Their faces were blank, polite. That look kids get when they're trying very hard to not embarrass anyone, especially their grandparents. "Everything okay?" I asked, voice cracking more than I wanted. Leah forced a tiny smile and shrugged. Noah didn't answer at all. He just took his sister's hand and steered her toward the living room. Behind them, my mom appeared like nothing had happened. She brushed invisible crumbs off her Christmas sweater and said, "Did you put the potatoes in the oven yet?" "Samuel, they're getting cold." I looked at her, at the woman who had just told my kids Santa would skip them because I hadn't bought my brother a luxury SUV. I didn't say a word. Not yet. I'm Samuel, 38 years old. I live just outside Chicago in a rented townhouse with my 11-year-old twins, Leah and Noah, half the week. The other half, there with their mom, Erin, my ex-wife. We're civil, friendly even. We split up when the twins were 7, and it was messy for a while, but we figured it out. I work as a performance marketer, a target, as my Eastern European clients like to call it. I run ad campaigns, tweak numbers inside dashboards, chase click-through rates at 2 a.m., and drink too much coffee. It's not glamorous, but it pays well. Between my full-time role at an e-commerce company and some freelance on the side, we were comfortable. Comfortable enough that in my parents' minds, my money stopped being mine a long time ago. It started small. "Can you cover the internet this month, honey? Your dad's hours were cut. Your brother's in a tough spot. He needs help with his credit cards. Just this once. The furnace guy wants a deposit today, and we're short. You're good with money. You know how it is." Back then it was $100 here, $200 there. I didn't think much of it. They'd helped me when I was in college. They watched the twins when they were babies. Family helps family. That's what we say. Then Ryan blew up his transmission, and somehow that became my problem. I put $2,500 on my card just until they paid me back. They never did. Then came Dad's back surgery. Insurance didn't cover everything, so I sent $5,000. When my freelance took off, I set up an automatic transfer, so they wouldn't have to ask $1,200 on the first of every month straight into my parents' joint account. That transfer ran for almost 6 years. In those same 6 years, my parents missed Leah and Noah's 5th grade play because Ryan's youngest had a soccer scrimmage. They forgot Leah's birthday once. Not the day, the gift. They wrapped a candle they got free with a coupon and called it simple and meaningful, while Ryan's kids opened drones and tablets. Christmas photos on their mantle. Ryan's family in matching pajamas. Mom and Dad in the middle. Then a framed collage from a family beach trip I paid for, but wasn't invited to, because it was just easier with one set of kids. My kids' school pictures were on the side of the fridge, stuck under a magnet that said "World's Best Grandma." Like a joke. Every time something stung, I swallowed it. I told myself they were old-fashioned, that kids don't need equal gifts to feel loved, that my parents were doing the best they could with what they understood. I wish I could say I held my boundaries. I didn't. When Ryan and his wife Melissa had their second baby, my parents called crying about how he couldn't keep driving that old sedan. They wanted a bigger car, something safe for the kids. When my mom said safe, she meant leather seats and a German logo. We found a great deal on a BMW X5. She told me like I'd been part of the decision. The payment is only $900 a month with a down payment. If you help with a down payment and maybe the first few months. I laughed because I thought she was joking. She wasn't. It's not my job to buy Ryan a luxury car. I said he has a job. Melissa works. You guys have a car. They can get something used. My mom went quiet in that way she does when she's storing anger for later. I just thought, she said slowly, with how well you're doing, you'd want your nieces to be safe. We're not asking you to buy it. Just help. You know how generous Santa is to people who give. I should have heard the thread in that. That conversation happened 3 days before Christmas Eve. The same afternoon, I opened my laptop during my lunch break and clicked accept offer on an email that had been sitting in my inbox for a week. Senior Performance Marketing Manager, Stockholm, Sweden. Relocation support included. School search assistance for dependent salary, high enough that my brain buzzed when I saw the numbers. I'd been interviewing with them for months. Half the calls were at 6 a.m. because of the time difference. They wanted me in their Stockholm office by summer. I'd been stalling on accepting because of one thing, my parents. How will they cope without you nearby? Erin had asked gently when I told her about the offer. She wasn't talking about missing me at Sunday dinner. She meant the bills, the crisis, the late-night calls. That afternoon, alone in my townhouse kitchen, I hit accept anyway. I didn't tell my parents. Not that day. Not after the BMW conversation. I thought I'd wait until after the holidays. Then my mom decided to make Santa her weapon. After Mom's Little Santa would skip your house speech, Christmas Eve blurred into a weird slow-motion loop. Ryan's girls shrieked over matching iPads. My dad toasted a family, and to Ryan, who always steps up when we need him. Melissa kissed my mom's cheek. My mom pretended not to watch my face when she handed Leah and Noah their gifts, socks, and a shared board game for both of you. Leah and Noah said, "Thank you," because that's the kind of kids they are. At one point, I caught Ryan watching me with this smug sideways smile. He'd heard what Mom said. They all had. No one had stopped her. "Hey, man." He clapped me on the shoulder later by the drinks table. "Don't take Mom so seriously. You know how she is around Christmas. Emotional. She just told my kids Santa would skip them because I didn't buy you a car," I said. He shrugged. "Well, you didn't." I stared at him. "You're 34, Ryan," I said. "You and Melissa both work. You chose the BMW." "Yeah, because we thought we had family." He shot back, voice quiet. "Mom said you were going to help. You've got that big tech money now. Or is all that Target whatever not paying as much as you pretend? Target logist, performance marketer, online ads guy, whatever." I felt my jaw clench. My money, I said, is for my kids. He snorted. Apparently not for Santa. I walked away before I did something I'd regret. We stayed long enough for dessert. Leo picked at her slice of store-bought cheesecake. Noah sat on the floor building a Lego set he brought from home because he told me, in the car on the way there, Grandma doesn't really get what I like. On the drive back, snowflakes hit the windshield in lazy lines. The twins were quiet in the back seat. Halfway home, Leia spoke up without looking up from her hands. Dad. Yeah, Bug. Did we do something wrong for Santa? I mean, my grip on the steering wheel tightened. No, I said, maybe too fast. You didn't do anything wrong. Noah cleared his throat. Grandma said Santa skips selfish houses. She was wrong, I said. And she shouldn't have said that. That's on her, not you. Silence again. Then Noah asked the question I'd been trying not to think about. Is Grandma mad at you because of Uncle Ryan's car? I swallowed. Yes, I said finally. She is. Oh, he said after a moment. Are you still buying presents for them next year? I stared at the traffic light ahead, blinking red, reflected in the ice on the road. No, I said slowly. I don't think I am. Back home, the twins went upstairs to change into their pajamas. I heard them whispering in Leah's room. That soft, serious kid whisper that means they're stitching the day into their memory, deciding how much of it is their fault. I sat at the kitchen table with my laptop open and my hands flat on the wood. On the counter, my phone lit up with a new text from Mom. You really hurt Ryan tonight, you know. He's done so much for you over the years. All we asked for was help with a car. And you made a scene with your attitude. I just hope your kids don't grow up thinking money is more important than family. Money is more important than family. The same woman who had just used money to tell my kids they weren't worth Santa's time had typed that out with her whole chest. I scrolled back through our old messages, screenshots of payment confirmations, pics of their new roof. Thanks, honey. We'd be ruined without you. Their anniversary dinner I paid for. You're such a blessing, Samuel. The vacation house I booked for Ryan's first wedding. The dentist bill I covered when Dad cracked a tooth and refused to go to the cheap clinic. The list went on. Family apparently started and ended at my wallet. My email pinged in the background. I flipped tabs. The subject line glared at me. Welcome to Nordline. Offer acceptance received. The Swedish company's HR rep had responded. We're thrilled to have you on board, Samuel. As discussed, we'll support relocation for you and your children. Tentative start date, July 1st. We'll schedule a call in January to go over school options. I stared at those words for a long time. Me, Leah, Noah, in Stockholm in a new apartment in a country where my parents would be an 8-hour time difference and a very expensive plane ticket away. I thought about Mom bending down to my kids' faces, telling them Santa would skip them. I thought about Ryan's smirk, about how quickly he'd accepted that my earnings were his future car payment. I thought about every automatic transfer, every just this once, every time I told myself they'd start treating my kids better once their finances were stable. They were never going to treat my kids better. Not as long as I kept paying them to stay the same. That was the moment something inside me snapped. Not loudly, not dramatically, more like a quiet click, a lock sliding into place. I stood up, went to the hallway, and pulled our suitcases out of the closet. I didn't tell the twins anything big that night. I told them to pack an overnight bag just in case we wanted to stay at home instead of going back over tomorrow. I framed it like a choice. Kids need choices when everything else feels shaky. Leah picked her favorite hoodie and the stuffed fox she still pretended she didn't sleep with. Noah packed his Nintendo Switch and 3 mismatched socks. They fell asleep in my bed, one on each side like they used to when they were little, and thunderstorms scared them. I sat at the kitchen table again, laptop open, bank app glowing. For 6 years, my parents' names had their own line in my budget spreadsheet. Mortgage, help $1,200 auto. Utilities, parents, $180 auto. Car, Ryan, $450 auto. It looked so normal in the list. Mortgages, groceries, daycare, savings, parents. I clicked the first auto transfer. A confirmation box popped up. Stop this recurring payment. My finger hovered over the mouse for maybe 2 seconds. Yes. 1 click. Done. Second transfer. Yes. Third. Yes. I took a picture of the confirmation screen, not because I needed proof, but because part of me didn't believe I'd actually done it. Then I opened the family emergency fund savings account I'd set up 3 years earlier. It had started as a good idea, one shared account in case something big happened. House fire, surgery, whatever. I'd put in $500 a month. My parents had promised to add what they could. They never added a dime. The balance sat at just over $24,000. Most of my down payments, my overtime. My campaigns run on weekends so my kids could have Christmas and my parents could have a roof. I transferred the full amount into my own high-yield savings account labeled Sweden Kids. My chest loosened a little. It didn't feel like revenge. It felt like putting money back where it should have been the entire time. Next, I opened my cell carrier's portal. My parents were on my family plan. So were Ryan and Melissa. It had made sense when I added them. Bundle price, better data, everyone happy. They never paid their share on time. I always covered it because it's just a phone bill. For lines sat under my name. I removed all but 3. Mine, Leah's, and Noah's. A small warning popped up about early termination fees. I accepted. It still cost less than one emergency they'd call me about in a typical month. Then I did something pettier, but necessary. I logged into the streaming services. Netflix, Hulu, Spotify, family. I changed the passwords not out of spite, because those payments came from my card, too. Little $10 charges that added up over time. If they wanted to watch their shows, they could pay for them. Last, I opened my work email. The company had always been generous about letting me list my parents as emergency contacts. They'd even extended my employee discount to them once for a hardware purchase. I removed my parents' info and replaced it with Aaron's and my best friend Marcus. I stared at the forms for a long, quiet minute. No direct payments, no joint accounts, no shared phone plans, no emergency fund. My parents were off my finances. All of them. I sent Aaron a text. Hey, I'm done funding my parents. I'll explain later, but for now, I just need you to know I'm moving everything to the Sweden plan. We'll talk after Christmas. You and I about the kids about July? She responded almost immediately. Proud of you. We'll figure it out. The kids deserve peace. I exhaled. The kind of exhale that feels like you've been holding your breath for years. Then I opened a new spreadsheet. Sweden move. Timeline. January. Call with HR. Start visa paperwork. February. Tell Aaron officially work out custody modifications. Talk to a lawyer if needed. March. Give notice on townhouse. Start selling furniture. April. Get passports renewed for twins. May, goodbye dinners with people who actually love us. June. Pack what's left. July. Flight to Stockholm. At the bottom, I added one line in bold. Tell my parents. Optional. I didn't sleep much that night. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw Leah's face when Mom said Santa would skip their house. I saw Noah's hands twisting his sweater in the back seat. Around 3 a.m., my phone buzzed again. Mom, of course. I hope you calmed down. Ryan is devastated. He was counting on you to be there for him. We raised you better than to turn your back on family over a car. I typed, then deleted 3 different responses. Finally, I put the phone face down on the table. The only response they were going to get from me from now on would show up in their bank statements, not their inbox. My parents noticed faster than I thought. On January 2nd, Dad called while I was at my desk. Your transfer didn't come through, he said. No hello. Bank says there's no scheduled payment. That's right. I said pause. What happened? I canceled it. All of it. The mortgage, the utilities, Ryan's car, the shared savings. It's over. You can't just do that, he snapped. We counted on that. The bills. You counted on me, I said. Not on Leah and Noah. You told them Santa would skip our house because I didn't buy Ryan a BMW. I'm done paying people who humiliate my kids. He muttered something about jokes and holiday stress. I'm not your backup bank, I said, and hung up. The messages started almost immediately from Mom. "You're being dramatic." It was one comment. "You'd really see your parents homeless over a misunderstanding from Ryan. You're ruining everything over a stupid Santa story. We already planned around that car payment. What are we supposed to do now?" From relatives. "Your mom's been crying all morning. Can't you just talk to her? She says, you're letting your new job go to your head." I ignored most of them. When I did answer, I sent one line. "I won't fund a family that thinks my kids are less." That was it. January turned into February. I had the call with Sweden HR. We started school applications for the twins. The HR guy explained the schools, extra Swedish lessons, free healthcare for kids. Free hit me harder than it should have. I've been patching holes in my parents' budget for years at Erin's kitchen table, with tea going cold. I said, "I don't want to take them away from you." "I know," she said. "We'll do summers, long visits, video calls. We'll figure it out. And honestly, I'm glad they're getting an ocean between them and your parents." She'd said softer versions for years. I'd always replied, "They'll come around." They didn't. By March, half the townhouse was in boxes. The kids already knew something was up, so I sat them on the couch. "There's a job," I said. "In another country. It's calmer, safer. We could be happy there. It's far from Grandma and Grandpa, but you'll still see Mom. I won't do it if you hate it." Leah chewed her sleeve. "Will people there talk about Santa like Grandma did?" "No," I said. "And if anyone ever talks to you like that, we leave." Noah frowned. "Do they have snow?" "Yeah, lots." He nodded. "Then I want to go." We left in late June. Erin cried at the airport, hugged the kids like she could store them in her arms. My parents weren't there. Mom had texted the night before that they weren't going to enable this ridiculous decision. I let it sit, unread. Stockholm felt like a clean page. Long summer light, bikes everywhere, people leaving work at 5 o'clock without apologizing. The company apartment was small and all IKEA. "Dad, you moved us into the catalog," Noah said, dropping onto the couch. "Could be worse," I told him. We build a new rhythm. School, my office, video calls with Erin, weekend parks and ferries. My parents sent a few long emails from Mom. "This isn't you." I'd never been this cold. Ryan was drowning. The house might be in danger. "All of it," she wrote, "could have been avoided if you just bought the car and stopped letting anger control you. From Dad, you'll come back eventually. Don't expect things to be the same. We won't be waiting with open arms after this betrayal." I read them, dropped them in a folder called Evidence, and moved on. 6 months later in November, my phone buzzed with a U.S. number as I left the office. "Sam," my Aunt Carol said. "Hey, so your mother discovered Google," she said. I exhaled. Of course she did. She was at church telling people you were just doing some online thing, and you'd be back soon. Then she typed your name in. She found the company press release, your photo, the line about you leading the team in Stockholm. I leaned against the wall, and she melted down. "Carol said you abandoned them, that money changed you, that you kidnapped the kids. Then she said you were never really family anyway, not like Ryan." There it was. "Some people think you're awful," Carol added. "Some think you're brave. I just know your kids look happier in those photos than they ever did at your parents' house." My eyes stung. "Thanks for telling me." That night, Mom emailed. Subject, "We saw what you've done." She wrote that I'd really moved, really taken their grandchildren. All because I couldn't handle a simple conversation about family. Everyone had seen my big job. When the money dried up, she said, "I shouldn't expect them to be there. You walked away. Remember that." For the first time, I replied. I reminded her she'd told my 11-year-old Santa would skip our house because I didn't buy Ryan a luxury car, that she'd used my kids to punish me for a boundary. I wrote, I didn't walk away from family. I walked away from people who see my bank account before they see my kids. The kids are happy and safe here. You are off my accounts for good. If you ever want a relationship with Leah and Noah, it starts with an apology to them, not excuses to me. Until then, do not contact us. I hit send. No reply came. Christmas in Sweden arrived fast. Short gray days, paper stars in every window. We bought a small fake tree and decorated it with paper hearts from school and a wooden doll horse. On Christmas Eve, I set the table for 3 and out of habit put a 4th plate down. "Who's that for?" Noah asked. "Grandma and Grandpa," Leah whispered. I looked at the empty plate. "It's just a reminder," I said, "of people who could be here, but chose not to be kind." We ate meatballs and mashed potatoes, drank cheap sparkling apple juice, and played a board game until we were all laughing. After presents, the twins went to call Aaron. Leah came back a minute later with a folded paper. "I made you something," she said. It was a drawing of our building. The 3 of us on a little balcony in winter hats, a crooked sleigh above. Across the top, she'd written, "Santa goes where the good dads are." My throat closed. "I love it. Can I put on the fridge?" "Yeah," she smiled. "So you don't forget." Later, after they fell asleep, I opened my banking app. The parents category was gone. Sweden kids sat there instead. For years, I told myself I was buying my kids a family. I wasn't. Now, the money was buying boots, language lessons, therapy sessions to untangle my mother's words. I checked on the twins one last time, then walked back through the quiet living room. The extra plate still sat on the table untouched. I didn't feel angry, just sure. My kids would never again wonder if Santa or anyone else was skipping them because I wouldn't buy a grown man a luxury car. They knew now. Santa goes where the good dads are. And this time that was